You're watching Real Football Analytics. I'm John Pollard, and welcome to The Vault. Each week during the football season, the Real Football Network will post unique charts, analytics, and various other studies to give you, the fans, some more information about a single highlighted game each week. This week's game that we're focusing on is the Green Bay Packers hosting the Seattle Seahawks in a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. This session that we're getting into here at The Vault, we're going to take some of those charts and go a little bit deeper, all in an effort to bring you, the fans, some more information to hopefully help you enjoy the game a bit more and possibly educate you a bit as to how teams themselves use information as they develop their game plans. Let's look at this week's first chart. As you can see, we're looking at Aaron Rodgers' passing map. And what we're looking at here is a lighter version of what teams themselves create, whether they're evaluating their own players or, again, game planning against an opponent. As you can see, we separate the field into five vertical areas. We also have 4 different path depth areas that we use. And we've identified attempts in terms of frequency, completion percentage, and touchdowns. And the information you're looking at here is for 2014 for Aaron Rodgers throughout the entire season. And what teams can do, and you yourself can do, is identify areas where Aaron has the most effectiveness. Now, obviously, he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's effective pretty much anywhere on the field. But let's look at a couple of areas of emphasis. Let's look at the right seam in the intermediate area. He had 37 attempts in 2014 with a 73% completion percentage and 5 touchdowns. Coming one step closer in the short range in the right seam, Aaron had 54 pass attempts in 2014, and he completed 75.9% of his passes and had 8 touchdowns. Now, this is how you can use this chart. Obviously, this is an area of strength for Aaron and his skills and the offensive scheme that the Green Bay Packers employ. This is how defenses look at information as they develop their defensive game plans. Let's move to our second map. Here, we're looking at a similar map, but in this case, it's the Seattle Seahawks pass defense in 2014. Now, the Seattle Seahawks play a cover 3 defense, and where there's an opportunity for an offense to attack a cover 3 defense, particularly one as talented as the Seattle Seahawks, it would be in the short to intermediate pass range. We've highlighted some areas where the Seattle's defense gave up pretty significant high completion percentages, and also where they gave up the most touchdowns. And as you can see, in the intermediate area, both in the left and right seam, Seattle gave up 67% completion percentage on the left seam and 72% completion percentage on the right. As we move into the short range, the same area, in the left and right seams, 70% completion percentage in the short left seam and 63% completion percentage in the short right seam. You can also see where they gave up the amount of touchdowns. For instance, in the intermediate left seam, they gave up 2 touchdowns, but they also produced 3 interceptions. You'll also notice areas we didn't highlight. I'll point out one area of interest. That's the right sideline in the deepest quadrant, 16 plus yards. Seattle gave up an incredibly stingy 24% completion percentage to opponents in all of 2014 in the deep right sideline quadrant. Let's talk a little bit more about this map. If we all reflect back into the Super Bowl in February, the New England Patriots did a pretty nice job attacking the Seattle's defense with passes in these specific areas. As a matter of fact, the majority of the Patriots' catches were dig routes, curl routes, out routes, and flat routes. In fact, they only had 2 catches in the Super Bowl that were go routes. The Green Bay's offense might benefit from having lots of short and intermediate passes of routes that aren't straight, taking advantage of quick pocket times and making sure that the Seattle's defense does not put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully you find this information interesting, and we encourage you to use this information and have it with you as you watch the game. Again, you may see a little bit of a difference here from what you saw in 2014, but this is something that's very prescriptive and will hopefully bring you closer to the game as you watch an exciting matchup with Green Bay hosting Seattle. For Real Football Analytics and from the Vault, I'm John Pollard.